Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about something I always see in my comment section every time I speak about the corrupt system in the Philippines. Spain ruined the Philippines. It's all the colonizers' fault. Blame 333 years of Spain. That statement is not wrong, but it's half-baked. It's incomplete. So today we're doing this properly based on history, not assumptions. I want to talk about what Spain actually did and how that shaped the Philippines into what it is now, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's not as simple as people think. All right, let's break it down. What did Spain actually give us? Let's correct the biggest misconception here. Spain did not copy Spain into the Philippines. They copied their colonial template, the exact same one they used in Mexico, Peru, Latin America, Colombia, Guatemala. Because for over 250 years, the Philippines was governed through Mexico City, part of the viceroyalty of New Spain. So what does that mean? Everything we inherited, the political structure, land ownership patterns, fiestas, church-centered towns, patronage, politics, this didn't come from, the modern Spain. This came from Spain's colonial society, which is very different. And here's the nuance. Spain did once have a similar system back in the 1500s. The feudal, the church-dominated, the elite-controlled, corrupt. And that was the era they colonized us. But eventually, Spain modernized. They reformed their government, weakened the church's power, modernized institutions, fixed corruption, built railways, and moved on. The Philippines, we got stuck with the old version of Spain. We were given the colonial model, frozen in time, and we never updated it. So the Americans came. They said they gave us public schools, infrastructure, English, literacy, a modern bureaucracy. And yes, those are real contributions, but let's talk about what they didn't do also. Something far more important. They did not dismantle the Spanish-era elite power structure. So instead, America partnered with the elite families. They kept the landlords, they kept the dynasties, they kept the same patronage system because America needed stability, not equality. The US basically said, okay, let's keep the powerful families powerful because they're easier to deal with. This meant, inequality remained, dynasties thrived, patron-client politics continued, the colonial bureaucracy stayed intact. So in short, America modernized the packaging but left the old colonial engine running. And a quick reality check why we look more, Latin America than Spain or Asia. So the Philippines today feels closer to Latin America than to Spain or even our Asian neighbors. Why? Because we inherited the Latin American style corruption, Latin American style political dynasties, Latin American style inequality, Latin American style Catholic fiesta culture, Latin American style urban chaos, Latin America style bureaucracy, and that's because from 1565 to 1821, the Philippines wasn't even ruled by Spain. Like I said earlier, we were governed under the viceroyalty of New Spain, basically under Mexico's administration. Only after Mexico gained independence in the 1821 did Madrid finally manage us directly. Spain in the 1500s did have elites though, nobles, landowners, clergy, and society was very hierarchical. But this is the part that matters. The elite system in Spain worked differently from elite system they exported to the colonies. So Spain had elites, but they weren't like colonial elites. In Spain, elites existed, dukes, counts, nobles, bishops, but they were regulated, tied to the crown, and subject to reforms over time. Spain had strong crown control, a functioning legal system, national institutions, courts that could punish elites, reforms after the Enlightenment, modernization and industrialization, weakening of noble power over time. So yes, elites existed, but they were checked. The colonies had a harsher, unregulated elite system. So in Latin America and the Philippines, Spain created a different breed of elite. I like to call them the mutants. So basically mini kings, because Spain was far away and could not monitor daily governance. And, the crown delegated enormous power to friars, encomenderos, local governors, principalia elites, hacienda families. These elites in the colonies controlled the land, labor, justice, taxes, access to opportunities, political positions, the church. Until today, the church is very strong. There were no real checks, no oversight, and no reforms reaching the colonies. So while Spain was slowly modernizing, the colonies stayed frozen under medieval-style power structure. The colonial elite system was worse than what Spain had at home. Why? Because the colonies were designed for, extraction, control, obedience, maintaining order with minimal effort, keeping the wealthy families loyal to Spain. This is why elite power in the Philippines and Latin America survived long after Spain itself reformed. Anyways, so Spain outgrew these things. Latin America and the Philippines didn't. It's just so sad that Spain reformed, they moved on, they changed, and we're still stuck. And also, when I went to Spain, I only stayed to 8 days, I think 1 week. And I'll be honest, I really expected something similar. Because think about it. 333 years under Spain, more than 3 centuries. At least that's what they taught us in school. You'd think there'd be at least a little bit of their DNA left in us, right? I mean, behavior, mannerism, and attitude, anything. But no, zero. There is nada. So I tried so hard to look for similarities, at least the urban layout, the buildings, the architecture, the way people moved, the vibe in the cafes, the energy on the streets. But you know what it felt like? It's like going to the house of a biological parent you've never met, only to discover you inherited nothing from them except loudness. I think they're loud. Yeah, I noticed that. But in grade school, they did teach us that our towns look like Spanish towns, our plazas are Spanish, our Catholic culture is Spanish, our architecture is Spanish. But people in Spain are not really religious. In fact, I don't even remember that they told us in school that we were controlled by Mexico under Spain, because they didn't stress that enough, that we are similar to Latin America today, or more really similar to Latin America. I walked around Spain and thought, where are the similarities? Yeah, the language. I truly thought I'd understand a few sentences, at least some words to get the context of what the people were saying, in the cafes or in the train, in the bus. But no, I understand French more than Spanish, and I barely speak French, though I could gossip in a cafe in Paris. But in Spain, I was frustrated when I listened to, the people in the cafes or in the bus. Understood nothing. The only similarity, like I mentioned earlier, is they talk loudly. That's what I noticed. And honestly, even that, I'm not sure if it's cultural or just the bus or restaurant I happen to be in. So yeah, Spain today feels nothing like the Philippines, not even close. Not a tiny bit. And that's when it finally clicked. We don't resemble Spain because we didn't inherit Spain. We inherited Spain's colonial prototype. We inherited Mexico, actually. The outdated version they never used for themselves again. So let's get to the real question. If the Philippines was never colonized, would we be better or worse? People love answering this in one sentence. Yes, we'd be rich like Japan. Or no, we'd be primitive. So let's break it down properly. There are 3 realistic scenarios for me. Scenario 1, we become like Thailand, and this is the best case. In this version, one strong pre-colonial kingdom rises and unifies the islands. And who could that be? I don't know, maybe Tondo or Sulu or Maguindanao, Cebu, I don't know, the Rajanate of Manila, even Butuan, they had a gold industry. If one of these consolidated power early, before Spain, then we develop our own identity, our own literature, art, philosophy. We industrialize at our own pace, but with unity. And unity is everything. Look at Thailand. Not colonized, strong identities, tourism powerhouse. Not rich like Japan, but far better than us. Could that have been us? Honestly, yes. Scenario 2, we become like Malaysia or Indonesia. And this is the very likely path. This is the path historians say is most realistic for the Philippines. Islam had already taken over Manila before Spain came. The Visayas were next. Trade was booming. We were already part of the regional spice network. So if no Spain, the Philippines becomes majority Muslim. A maritime trade nation like Malaysia or Indonesia. You know what that means? Better political structure, better economic growth, more regional power, better integration into Southeast Asia. Would corruption magically disappear? No. But could we be more developed than today? Absolutely. And the scenario 3, we stay divided into 10 to 15 countries. This is the worst case scenario. Before colonization, we were never one country. We were a group of independent kingdoms, tribes, sultanates, and mountain civilizations. So the worst case scenario, a Tagalog Republic, Visayan Kingdom, Sulu Sultanate, several Igorot states, Bicol and Ilocano nations, maybe, Tausug and Maranao states, all separate, all fighting for power, all vulnerable to Japan, China, or other empires. I mean, we are still vulnerable today to China. I feel like I can resonate with this scenario 3. The scenario 3 is relatable now. Why do I feel like that? So economically weak, politically chaotic. Oh my gosh, we have all this now. Long-term development is slow. And it's slow. It's very slow. Even until now. Wait, we are in the worst case scenario, actually. Even if we are one country. Well, what is the verdict? Would we be better or worse without colonization? There is really no one clear answer to that. In the best and most likely scenarios, we'd be better off. In the worst scenario, we'd be fragmented and weaker. And even if that was the worst case scenario, if Spain didn't colonize us and that still happened, it's happening right now, actually. Even after colonization, it's still happening. So what's the problem? Is it really Spain or is it just us? So now I don't know. I don't know the answer to my question anymore. But anyway, colonization didn't just conquer us. It froze us in a system designed for extraction, obedience, and inequality. Spain evolved, we didn't. America modernized our packaging, but they left the colonial engine running. And another follow-up question is, if we are capable of independence or of leading our own, then why didn't we change? And why didn't we evolve the same way Spain evolved? Spain, modernized. Latin America slowly also modernized. We've had 126 years since independence. So why didn't we do it? Is it because the system was too broken from the start? Is it because the elites who inherited power made sure the system stayed broken? Or is it because we are really incapable of changing? Before Spain came, we were, like I said, we were like broken. We were not unified, but Spain was able to unify us into like one country. That's the most painful part. Is it because we never really learned how to govern ourselves, even before Spain came and after centuries of being governed by someone else? Sometimes I even wonder, what would the Philippines look like today if Spain never let us go? Would we have evolved with them? Or if even America didn't let us go, if they stayed, adopted the institutions as, everyone modernized, gotten rid of the old colonial structures the same time they all did, would we be more like a Europeanized Asian country? Oh, by the way, the Philippines, they call it an Americanized country. Or at least, I don't know, would we be more stable, more modern, more organized? We don't know. That's the truth. History doesn't give alternate endings. Yeah, I really can't help but wonder. Maybe we didn't change because we weren't really capable of changing. Not because we're victims of colonization, not because Spain broke us. This is why we kept the patronage network. This is why political dynasties are still alive. This is why we still operate on short-term thinking. Good enough for today, bahala na tomorrow. Or good enough for today, come what may tomorrow. Or good enough for today, tomorrow is another day. You cannot modernize if your culture rejects discipline and embraces shortcuts. But what we know is this. Once Spain left us, we were on our own and we didn't know what to do. We walked into independence with no nation-building skills of our own. No cohesive identity, no long-term leadership, and no cultural foundation for progress. Yeah, colonization held us back a lot. It's one of the biggest hindrances, but our own limitations kept us from moving forward too. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. So leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you again in the next one.